In Skyrim, every place has a name. Every ruin has a story. Every cave has a bandit, a necromancer, a ghost with unfinished business. You can pick almost any point on the map and someone, some faction, some book, some loose thread of narrative will eventually guide you there. And yet, some places don't feel like they were ever meant to be found. Some places feel like they slipped through the cracks, built textured, maybe even plotted out, and then quietly left behind. No quest markers, no radiant objectives, no dialogue hints from a drunken NPC in a tavern, just a name on a map. If you're lucky, a cold unlabeled door, if you're not. This is one of those places. No one ever tells you to go there, no one even mentions it. But if you wander far enough east of Riften, past the stables, across the river, up the rocky slope towards the edge of the mountain, you might see it. A wooden scaffolding, a crumbling mine entrance. A place the world seems to have forgotten. The Lost Prospect Mine doesn't open with a bang. It's not like Bleak Falls Barrow with its towering arches and blaring music cues. There's no combat encounter waiting at the threshold, no trap to dodge. You walk in and the world just gets quieter. The first room is small, dusty. A minecart is tipped over, gold ore litters the floor, glittering faintly in the gloom. There's a lantern, a pickaxe, and water, the sound of it faint and rhythmic deeper inside. At this point, you're thinking, okay, standard abandoned mine, probably some skeevers, maybe a dead bandit with a journal and a minor treasure. But then you notice something strange. There are no enemies at all. None. Just tunnels and silence. As you move deeper, the mine widens. You reach a larger cavern, water running through it, and a series of ledges above you. There's a broken ladder, a few more carts, and you start to wonder what actually happened here. Why was it abandoned, and why did no one ever come back? And then, in a narrow side chamber, you find him. A corpse. Two corpses, actually. A man and a woman dead, frozen together. Next to him is a letter. It's short, rambling. If you read it and realize this wasn't a mine that was closed by force. It wasn't overrun by spiders or something dark. It was closed because of obsession. The prospector believed there was more gold here, a lot more. His partners didn't believe him. They left, but he stayed. Kept digging, kept dreaming until the dream became all there was. The note ends with something like, "I'm close, I can feel it." And then he died right there. A pickaxe on the floor, a lantern running out of oil, and nothing else to say for him. There's no boss at the end of Lost Prospect Mine. No chest full of rare loot. No artifact waiting on a pedestal. If you climb the ledges above and navigate the broken scaffolds and explore every inch, you'll find a few extra gold veins. But that's it. Just some ore. Which in a game like Skyrim feels strange. Wrong, even. You've been trained to expect more. Big reveal, big reward, big battle. But the Lost Prospect Mine doesn't care about any of that. It gives you a name, a dead man, and a story you have to finish in your own head. And then it gives you nothing else, because that's what obsession leaves behind. Skyrim is loud, in most of the right ways. Dragons scream through the clouds, swords clash, lightning crackles from your fingertips. But every now and then, the game gets quiet. Not just visually, but thematically and emotionally. The Lost Prospect Mine is one of those places. You don't come here for gold, you come here to remember what ambition sounds like after it's burnt out. This mine didn't collapse in a battle. It didn't get swallowed by the war. It wasn't cursed or haunted or corrupted. It was simply forgotten. Like a dream you thought was real until you wake up and realize no one else had it but you. And that maybe is why this place matters so much. Because it doesn't matter. Because someone once believed it did. Skyrim is a game that usually over-explains. It gives you journals, dialogue trees, exposition dumps, quest markers, flashing arrows, and redundant monologues from people who really want to tell you about their missing sword. But this mine doesn't really explain anything. You have to connect the dots. The prospector's note, the layout of the mine, the empty scaffolding, the fact that by the time you reach the deepest point in the cave, the gold is there, but the person who needed to see it never made it. And he was right, there was more gold, but that doesn't matter because he's dead now. And no one else cared enough to come back, not even to bury him. There's a type of location in Skyrim I've started thinking of as a pre-quest. These are places that feel like they were meant to have something tied to them. A Daedric artifact, a moral dilemma, a branching story about trust and betrayal. But for some reason, the part never got written. This location in Skyrim, the Lost Prospect Mine, feels like a pre-quest. You could build a whole story out of it. Maybe the prospector was cursed. Maybe the mine was a front for something darker. Maybe there's more gold, but every time someone comes for it, they vanish. But the game doesn't do that. It leaves the door open. And that's rarer than you think in a game like Skyrim. If you were to draw a map of Skyrim, not just the geography, but the psychology of its places, the Lost Prospect Mine would be a little dot at the edge of ambition. It's about what happens when you believe in something no one else does. It's about digging and digging and digging and never hitting bedrock. It's about thinking that if you just go a little further, if you just try a little harder, you'll eventually get the reward you were promised. And it's about how that promise can kill you. And it's about how the world might never even notice you're gone. Because the mine is so tucked away, so out of the public's eye that no one will ever think to go there other than prospectors. There are players who will never enter the Lost Prospect Mine. They'll walk past it, ride past it, maybe even glance at it while chasing something bigger. And that's okay, because the game doesn't ask you to go there. But that's what makes it feel real, because the world is full of forgotten places. Houses with the lights off, offices with dust on desks, buildings with no footprints in the snow. Not every location gets a headline. Not every place gets a purpose. Some places exist simply because someone once needed them to, and then stopped. In most of Skyrim, gold means something, right? It's currency, it's value, it's the reward. But in the mine, gold is something else. It's the object of fixation, the illusion of purpose, the thing that a man clung to while the rest of the world moved on. And in that context, the gold in the mine isn't a treasure, it's a tombstone. You can mine it if you want, you can even sell it. But part of you knows this wasn't meant for you at all. It was meant for someone who never got to hold it. The Lost Prospect Mine doesn't change. It doesn't scale with your level, it doesn't respawn, it doesn't evolve. It doesn't care if you're level 5 or level 50. You walk in, you see the story, and you walk out. It waits for you, but it doesn't need you. And when you leave, I bet it doesn't miss you either. Which makes it feel more real than half the quest hubs in the game. It's a scar and not a wound. Not everything in Skyrim is meant to be remembered. Some stories don't echo through the taverns, some places don't get marked on your map. Some people live and die between the lines of dialogue, between the cracks in the cave walls, between the radiant events and the dragon fights. The Lost Prospect Mine is one of those places. And maybe that's why I keep thinking about it, because I forgot it once as well. But now, I can't.